Hello, everyone, and welcome back. Today, we're diving into a fascinating topic: sources of knowledge. Have you ever stopped to ask yourself, how do I actually know what I know? It's a bigger question than it seems. In this session, we'll explore where our knowledge comes from, and more importantly, how we can evaluate it to become more responsible thinkers. Are you ready? Let's get started. Let's start with something we all rely on every single day: personal experience. Think about the last time you learned something just by doing it. Maybe you learned how to ride a bike, or maybe you figured out that touching a hot stove is a bad idea. Personal experience is powerful because it's direct and vivid. You were there, you felt it, and you remember it. But there's a catch. Our personal experiences are highly subjective. Two people can go to the exact same event and remember it completely differently. Why? Because our individual perspectives, our emotions, and even our flawed memories shape what we take away. So, while your experience is valid, it's just one piece of the puzzle. Next up, we have school and academic disciplines. This is probably where you spend a lot of your time right now. Unlike personal experience, academic knowledge is organized and systematic. Think about how a scientist conducts an experiment or how a historian analyzes primary documents. Each subject has its own specific standards for what counts as evidence. What's really interesting here is that different disciplines can look at the exact same topic and see totally different things. A biologist and a poet will describe a tree in very different ways, and neither of them is wrong. They just offer complementary perspectives. Now let's talk about the knowledge we inherit: family, culture, and tradition. From the moment you were born, you started absorbing the shared values, beliefs, and social behaviors of the people around you. This kind of knowledge is passed down across generations, often without us even realizing it. Have you ever caught yourself doing something just because that's how my family has always done it? That's cultural knowledge at work. It frames how we see the world. However, if we never challenge these cultural norms, they can sometimes limit our perspectives. It's always healthy to ask why we believe the traditions we hold on to. Okay, this next one is huge for all of us: media, technology, and algorithms. We live in an age where you can pull out your phone and access millions of articles, videos, and opinions in seconds. It's amazing. But here's the tricky part. The content you see online isn't just random. It's filtered and shaped by algorithms designed to keep you clicking. Sometimes what goes viral isn't actually true. It's just popular or shocking. That's why it is absolutely critical that we evaluate what we see online. Just because it has a million likes does not make it a fact. So, when things get confusing, who do we turn to? Experts and institutions. These are the people with specialized training: scientists, doctors, researchers, who rely on peer review and established credibility. When experts reach a consensus, that's usually a very strong indicator of reliable knowledge. But remember, even experts are human. They can be influenced by funding sources or institutional power structures. So while expert consensus is incredibly valuable and usually our best bet, we still need to assess it critically. Blind trust isn't the goal. Informed trust is. Now that we know where our knowledge comes from, let's talk about what gets in the way of it. Enter cognitive biases. These are mental shortcuts our brains take that can lead us to the wrong conclusions. Have you ever noticed how you tend to favor information that confirms what you already believe? That's called confirmation bias. Or maybe you've assumed that a celebrity must be an expert on politics just because they're famous? That's the halo effect. And what about in-group bias, favoring the people in your own group while being suspicious of outsiders? Recognizing these biases is the first step to overcoming them, and trust me, we all have them. So, how do we fight back against bad information and our own biases? We have to evaluate the quality of our evidence. When you're looking at a source, ask yourself, is this credible? Does the author have genuine expertise? Is the evidence actually relevant to the claim being made? Is it reliable, meaning if we tested it again, would we get the same results? And finally, is it corroborated? Do other independent sources agree? Always be on the lookout for potential conflicts of interest that might skew the findings. These 5 questions are your toolkit for becoming a smarter consumer of information. Another great way to test your knowledge is to actively seek out alternative viewpoints. I know, it's uncomfortable to listen to people who disagree with you, but consider what critics might say about your belief. Search for counterexamples. Ask yourself, how might someone from a different culture or a different historical period view this? Engaging with alternative views doesn't mean you have to change your mind, but it does encourage open-mindedness and deeper critical thinking. It helps you uncover your own hidden assumptions. And honestly, that's where the real learning happens. This brings us to one of my absolute favorite concepts, metacognition. Simply put, metacognition is thinking about your thinking. It involves being aware of how you're making decisions. Are you relying on logic or just your emotions? It means monitoring your understanding and being honest about what you don't know. If you realize you have a gap in your knowledge, regulate it. Seek out more evidence. And most importantly, reflect and learn. Updating your beliefs when you encounter new, better information isn't a sign of weakness, it's a sign of a responsible knower. So the next time you catch yourself thinking, wait, how do I actually know this? That's metacognition in action. Well done. Let's quickly recap what we've covered today. We explored the 6 key sources of knowledge: personal experience, school and academic disciplines, family, culture and tradition, media and technology, experts and institutions, and finally, reflection and metacognition. Each of these sources offers unique strengths, but they also come with weaknesses and limitations. That's exactly why our final tool, critical reflection and metacognition, is so vital. By thoughtfully evaluating our sources and staying aware of our own biases, we can navigate this complex world much more effectively. You now have a real framework for thinking about how you know what you know. I want to leave you with this final thought. Think critically. Know responsibly. The next time you hear a new piece of information, take a breath, ask yourself where it came from, check your biases, evaluate the evidence. You are now equipped to be a much more thoughtful and responsible knower. Thank you so much for joining me today. Keep asking those great questions, and I'll see you in the next session.